Welcome back to another episode of Get the Guac. And joining me today is Jennifer Farrell Tilley, the Executive Director of the Community Foundation of Harford County. What a mouthful, but I'm excited. I've known Jen for many years, and I think the philanthropic part of financial planning is so important. So let's just jump right into it. Jen, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to give you a little background for everybody watching. So Jen is the Executive Director, as I mentioned, and you have been since March 2020.
That's right.
For Harford County. Mm-hmm. What a month to start a new job in a new organization.
It was fantastic. So
right.
My first day was the day that Larry Hogan came on TV and told everyone to go home.
Yeah. Yep, that's so funny. I feel like there was a lot of transition right at the early of 2020 for some reason, not necessarily COVID related, but
yeah.
I digress. And then in 2024, you were named a Woman of Influence by I-95 magazine.
That's right.
So I knew you probably wouldn't appreciate me bringing that up too much, but it is something to be proud of. And before Harford County, you spent 12 years with Baltimore County's
Baltimore Community Foundation, which covers Baltimore County and Baltimore City.
Okay. We'll start even further back than that. What inspired you to get into work in nonprofit and philanthropy?
Well, so my first sort of career was in sales, and I had kind of an aptitude for it. I was pretty good at it, but I didn't feel any passion towards sales. It was website building at the time. And
you weren't passionate about websites?
There wasn't, just nothing was really pulling me to feel any kind of way toward website development. So I kind of started thinking about what could I use, this for in a way that is really meaningful for me. And, growing up, we supported our church and we would volunteer places. I volunteered at the Harford County Public Library every summer for the summer reading program.
Okay.
So we'd always kind of talked and thought about giving back. And I thought, gosh, it would be kind of cool if I could make a career out of that. So came across a position at the Baltimore Community Foundation. It was like the lowest position you could take, and believe it or not, the nonprofit world is very competitive. People want to get in it, so when there's an opening, they will probably get hundreds of applications. So, I was lucky to get it and just kind of worked my way up, and I've just completely fallen in love with community foundations and their model of philanthropy. Yeah,
and there was an open position in your hometown.
Yeah. So I grew up in Jarrettsville, went to see Milton Wright with you. So to find out that there was a role opening in what I loved and happened to be good at in my hometown when I had just recently moved back here, it was all kind of kismet. So, it just worked out really well, other than the pandemic stuff.
And one thing that I went back and I did a little research, so I'll say it because I know you might not. Under your leadership, it has exploded in growth and awareness. I calculated over 5 times growth, the size of the foundation, under your leadership since 2020. That's incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
So we're doing something right, and I think the momentum only continues to build, and the growth, you're not done yet. I think that there's many more things. And full disclosure, I'm on the board, so I get to see how the sausage is made, and everything with the foundation is just so well run and such a great impact to the county.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think the thing with community foundations, they actually just put out some data that they did some random poll, and I think something like 60% of people are like, I am aware of that thing, but I have no idea what it does. So I think a lot of it is really getting people to understand what it is and how it works, and that can be a struggle, especially in the early days of a community foundation. And we are a relatively young community foundation compared to the rest of the country.
Now, so that begs a good question. Let's oversimplify it. What is a community foundation?
Sure. And it's actually not that easy to answer, or else more than 60% of people would understand it.
Right.
But I look at us as sort of like a one-stop shop for all things hyper-local philanthropy, right? So we are completely focused on Harford County, and we're focused on supporting Harford County in every possible way that we can in terms of philanthropy. So that's a quick way to think about it. Another way to think about it is, and I don't love using this phrase, but it does seem to resonate with people, is that we are kind of a philanthropic bank, right? We work with families and businesses that want to be philanthropic. We open a fund in their name that they then use in whatever way we work out together. Some of them use us as their sort of back office and getting suggestions on where to give. Some of them just tell us the type of organization they want us to support every year, and we do that on their behalf. So it's a really, really customizable way to give back where you live in Harford County.
Right. So you are supporting the specialized nonprofits that do the boots on the ground work.
Yes.
and support them in their missions, but you're not directly donating, like a food bank or something like that. You're supporting the organizations that do those things.
That's correct. So I mean, we joke, but it's not really a joke. I look at myself as the development director for every nonprofit in Harford County. My job is, if a family comes to me and tells me that they're really interested in ending hunger in Harford County, I want to be able to give them an organization that I feel really good about that's doing things to end hunger in Harford County. So it's my job to sort of learn what all the nonprofits are doing and be able to relay that information to our fund holders so they can make good decisions about where their money goes.
So it's the fund donor's job to have funds to be able to donate, but
Sure.
also know what causes they're passionate about.
Well,
But your role is to help bring out maybe what they are passionate,
Yes.
what causes they're passionate about, and also which organizations most closely align with what their goals are that they may not even know before a conversation with you.
That's right. So we work with families that kind of run the gamut in terms of sophistication and philanthropy. And that's not a negative word in my mind, but just people who are either really already very into philanthropy, know exactly what they want to do, are a little in philanthropy and feel like they need a little guidance, or maybe they just had some kind of windfall and they're like, geez, now we have this opportunity to be philanthropic. We don't know the first thing about it. We work with families, all of those kinds of families, to kind of give them the level of service that they like.
Sure.
So some of them, like I said, they know exactly what they want to do. They're like, I don't really need to talk to you. And then I have other families that want to meet with me 4 to 5 times a year and present them with options for their giving, and then they make the decision. So it really does kind of span, it's for all level of philanthropist, even if you've never done philanthropy ever in your life.
Beginner, intermediate, expert.
Correct.
It can cover all those.
That's right.
Such a believer in the Community Foundation that Harford Retirement Planners has the longest named.
It's up. We have some pretty long, fun names. That's the other. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is the cool thing about working with the Community Foundation too. Is you get to have this thing that's in your name, that checks are going to go out in this name. In perpetuity, potentially, which is a really cool thing. But yeah, we work with businesses like yours that also want to engage in philanthropy in Harford County.
So we have the Harford Retirement Planners Community Fund.
Correct.
That's the name of it.
Yeah.
And then our cause is obviously through work, we serve a lot of people that have means,
Sure.
people of affluence. But that is not the entire representation of our community, and one of our core values is benefiting everybody in the community. So
Right.
that, I won't say the name again, but our fund supports the under-resourced in
Sure.
the county.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 3 different types of categories typically of folks that are fund donors.
Mm-hmm.
Individuals, businesses, and nonprofits.
Correct.
Can you go through and just give us a quick example? It's not the same for everybody, but just an example to get people thinking for each one of those 3.
Sure. So the nonprofits are kind of the more straightforward ones. So a lot of nonprofits will open something called an agency endowment, and that is just a way to sort of ensure that their operations will be financially supported in perpetuity. So they'll open an endowment with us, and then we'll invest that money for them, and then automatically send them a check every year that they can use for their programming or for their operations.
So let me make sure I understand.
Sure.
So we've got XYZ nonprofit doing work in the community, and they get a bunch of money in their general account.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they had a fantastic fundraising year, or someone passed away and left them some dollars that they want invested, that kind of thing.
And the current decision makers in that nonprofit want to keep it going much longer, so they might take that money, place it with the Community Foundation of Harford County,
Right.
which will then fund operations from their specific fund, not commingled with others,
Right.
and help support that mission in perpetuity beyond the leadership of who might currently be in charge.
That's exactly right. And the other reason that they might open one of those is because they do have people that are interested in leaving estate gifts to them, and they like the idea of doing it through the Community Foundation, because we will have legal oversight and ensure that it's doing exactly what that donor wanted to do forever, even if that organization ceases to exist.
Right.
That was probably too many words, and I made it more confusing. I apologize.
No, I think, it's complicated.
Yeah.
At times, it's simple, but to talk it through,
Right.
sometimes a little bit of detail that is important.
Right. So individuals/families, they'll come to us, and we have a bunch of different kinds of funds. The most popular kind of fund everywhere is always a donor-advised fund. That's because the family really has the ultimate discretion on where those grants are going to go every year, and they get access to us as professional staff to sit with them and figure out what they'd like to do and how they'd like to move it forward. But there are other kinds of ways that families work with us. We have families that know they want to be philanthropic in Harford County, but they don't really want to be super hands-on. So they'll open something called either a designated fund. So it's almost similar to an agency endowment because it's a fund that they're opening to support one specific nonprofit in Harford County in perpetuity. So instead of the nonprofit opening it, a donor is going to open it and say, look, I want you to invest these dollars and I want you to send this charity a check in our name every year in perpetuity. And the other thing that they'll do is they could open a field of interest fund, which is instead of naming the specific organization they wanted to support, they want to tell us the field that they want to support. So some examples of our fields now are homelessness, hunger, mental health access. We even have animal welfare, kind of runs the gamut. So that's kind of the typical way that we'll work with families. And then we have families that just like what one of our funds does, so they'll just give to an existing fund that doesn't even have their name on it.
Yep.
And then businesses, it can be similar. We have businesses that open funds that just say, we just want this fund with our name on it. We want you to meet with us once a year, and we'll figure out what to do with it.
Right.
But then we have we do employee matching programs for some corporations, and then a lot of businesses will use it as a way to engage their clients. In that they will once a year they'll open up to their entire client base. Look, here are 4 nonprofits we've chosen in Harford County. We want all of you to vote, and then whatever the winner of that vote is, they'll let us know, and we'll send that grant to the winning charity.
That's cool.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different. I mean, that is really, when you get to the heart of it, what is cool about community foundations is they really are so customizable based on what you are looking for. You know what I mean? Like each fund is its own little foundation that operates in its own way. And no two are really all that similar. You know, we have funds that are just doing homelessness. We have funds that are, just doing the arts. So it really does, it gets to be pretty interesting because you get to, like the coolest thing about us is that our dollars touch every single corner of this county in every single cause. Like there is no cause at the community foundation. Your cause is our cause, which to me is like the coolest thing. Yeah,
you get to live vicariously through these donors.
That's right.
And see them celebrate the impact it has, right?
And just being able to the power of a family coming to us and saying, we lost a family member due to a suicide. Is there any way you could get us in front of some mental health access organizations? And then you bring them there, and then you find out that 4 years later, they've been funding pretty much their entire operation and help them in their back office. And now they have this incredible relationship, and that kind of stuff is just, it floors you because you get to see in real time actual positive change happen in the place you live, which is I just can't think of anything more exciting than that. It's the best.
That's got to be deeply fulfilling.
It is. It really is.
So going in a slightly different direction, I'm just curious, of the different funds or donations coming in, how many are named and how many are anonymous?
They're mostly named. In my experience, the people that want to be really anonymous, either because they've inherited a large amount of money and they don't really want people to know that, but they do want to give some away. That's a big reason people would be anonymous. There are people that want to be anonymous because they don't want to end up on some list where they're getting, 5,000 pieces of mail from every single national nonprofit in the country.
Right.
I would say most of them are not anonymous, but we do have, I want to say 7 funds that we are not under any circumstance allowed to say who those donors are. And we kind of just perform their philanthropy for them, and people have no idea who it is, and they're incredibly generous, and it's just what they want to do.
Follow-up question. Have you ever watched Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Of course.
So there's an episode where there's some big donation to a hospital and the wing, and they have the names of the people that were donors.
Yeah.
If you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And one of them says anonymous,
Uh-huh.
but it's really Ted Danson, and everybody knows it's Ted Danson.
That's right.
And they give him so much credit for it being it's anonymous. And
Right.
Larry David freaks out saying, well, it's not anonymous if everybody knows who the donor is.
That's
that
right.
defeats the purpose of anonymous.
That's right. Well, I will say that nobody knows who our anonymous donors are.
Anonymous means anonymous.
Anonymous is anonymous. And
none of them are Ted Danson.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, as far as I'm able to share. And we have fund holders that maybe their fund is their family name, but they do want to send one grant anonymously. So we'll do, like normally we would tell the nonprofit, this is the family, the family's name is on the check. But every once in a while they'll say, just send this one anonymously, and we'll send it and just say, this is from an anonymous fund holder of the Community Foundation of Harford County. So people can make those decisions one-offs too.
Right.
It doesn't have to always be public or always be anonymous. It can be kind of customizable based on each grant.
So for anybody watching interested in philanthropy or what that might look like, the fund size is not as big as maybe some people unaware of these things might have in their head. It's not $1 million.
That's right.
It's not $100,000.
That's right.
You can create a fund that gives to nonprofits in perpetuity for...
named after your family. So our minimum is $10,000, but we do have an accumulator fund policy that allows people 3 years to get there, which I feel like is completely reasonable. You can just add to it little by little, and then in year 3, once you hit that $10,000, we can get to work and start getting those dollars out into the community.
And then from an individual standpoint, I know what we've helped clients with is you don't have to write a check for $10,000 if you have investments outside of retirement accounts. Mm-hmm. You can donate appreciated stocks.
Right.
Or, maybe you had a flyer and you bought Apple 15 years ago and now it's ballooned in value and you're going to get smacked with taxes.
Yeah.
Check with your CPA before you make any of these changes. But you can donate the stock without selling it, potentially get a full tax deduction on the amount and avoid capital gains tax.
That's right. Yeah.
And then the money that's in there doesn't immediately need to go to that charity. Year 1, it can go out over a lifetime or longer or however you want.
That's right. Yeah. And that's one of the other, I say everything's cool about the Community Foundation because I'm such a nerd, but we can really accept a variety of kind of complex gifts like real estate, fine art. There are community foundations in the Midwest that accept tractors all the time. So
corn.
Yeah, corn. I don't know about corn, but yeah, we have the ability to kind of work with people with those types of gifts.
So my parents did a donor advised fund, and my dad described it to me. He's like, what I picture is when I'm long gone. Meanwhile, he's not that old, so I'm like, you're putting the cart ahead of the horse a little bit, but that's fine. I'll listen to it. He's like, I picture you and your brothers getting together, playing around at golf, and then afterwards you grab a bite and you talk about where the donation for the year is going to go.
Yeah, I love. See, that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. So, and as what age do you think? And I know it's an average, some younger, some older, but when do people really start to think and act on philanthropy and legacy planning?
I think 50s and 60s, maybe slightly more 60s is when you start to think. I think you have to reach a point in your life where you realize you're okay financially, right? I think all of us will always have a little anxiety about I don't know, you know what I mean? But I think once you hit a point in your life where you really feel secure in your career and your kids are on a good path or what have you, that's when you can start to really have a little bit of fun and start to give back.
Right.
But we even have fund holders who are solely building up donor advised funds to leave to their children, and their children don't even know about it yet. So they're like, this is this gift that we want to give, and they are going to tell them before they pass, hopefully. Of course, we never know. But that's the plan, is to just kind of give their kids the gift of being able to engage in philanthropy without them having to. The gift of giving. That's beautiful, Joe.
Well, that's the marketing chair coming out.
That's right. He is our marketing chair at the Community Foundation, too.
The gift of giving. So a lot of times, as I'm sure you've probably seen, people are maybe around the holidays, they're writing checks, American Heart Association, the local
food bank,
things like that. That's what they're used to, and then they got to get the receipts. The CPA is saying, "Hey, where's
we need to make
sure where's this?" And you're like, I forgot.
Right.
what are some of the benefits of doing a fund through the community foundation versus continuing this, write a check, and hopefully you have receipts that you can show your accountant?
Yeah, well, I mean, the most straightforward way that it's easier is because you only have to keep one receipt, and that's the receipt that we send you when you open your donor advised fund or when you add to your donor advised fund.
Right.
But when you open a fund at the community foundation, it is, and they won't like me saying this, but it is like having your own little family foundation, but you don't have to do anything. Like,
Right.
we are your philanthropic back office. So if you want us to look into an organization and look at their 990 and us give you our honest opinion on their financials or on their programs or services, that's our job. I mean, I have people that have me look into organizations once a week. I have people that'll send me a list of 40 in December and say, whoever you like, we want to support these by the end of the month. So
Right.
it is kind of that's the big thing, is that we're here to really kind of like do your due diligence for you and help you make good decisions that you can feel really good about, and just kind of take the stress out of it, right? Like if you don't have to track down all of your receipts and you can just, we have fund holders that they'll see some kind of disaster happen on TV and they'll send me a quick email and said, hey, send a grant to the Kentucky Community Foundation because they had, a devastating weather event. We can just get that check out for them right away. So we're kind of like just always here to support our fund holders and help them be nimble in the way that they want to be.
Now, I'm the financial nerd, so what I have seen lately with individuals, they might give several hundred or maybe $1,000 or $2,000 a year, but they're not getting credit for it on taxes.
That's right.
Because they're a little bit older, they've been in that same house, so the mortgage interest is less, and they don't have enough to itemize deductions with the high standard deduction.
Right.
So if you do, there's probably different names for it, but cluster funding, where instead of doing $2,000 over the next 5 years, not getting credit for it, you could do a $10,000 fund and have money go out $2,000 over the next 5 years and get that $10,000 deduction. You wouldn't in the other years.
Right.
But continuing on the path they were doing, they wouldn't get it any of the years.
Right. And that's exactly what a lot of people do. Even families that are already really, really, philanthropically involved, they'll sit down with their financial advisor and say, okay, this is what we tend to give out in a year. What if we put in 3 times that in year 1, get the deduction in year 1, give it out over years 2 to 3, and then do the same thing in year 4?
Right.
So that's a really popular way to use donor advised funds to get the best tax advantage.
The greatest hits for this conversation when I'm sitting down with a couple or an individual is highly appreciated stock. Mm-hmm. That's an easy one. Now, there's a lot of other reasons, but that's, my dad bought me Tesla 1 million years ago because he thought electric was cool, and it's ballooned into this thing and I don't know what to do with it.
Right.
We can carve some out. Mm-hmm. You're kind of playing with house money at that point. I mean, it's real money. Right. But when people think about it,
it doesn't feel as like real and tangible as writing a check.
It's like the way people look at their 401k. Like, that's kind of, it's real money, but it's not as real as what's in my savings account.
That's
that I have. I'm not driving the fanciest, newest car. All the sacrifices I make to build that money means something more to people than the other money, which is just as much money as the savings.
Right.
So appreciated stock.
No, that's a real thing. For some reason, I think it just feels easier for people to give appreciated stock.
And then with that deduction that you're getting, we can use that to offset Roth conversions, or maybe take more money from IRAs than we normally would.
Right.
Try to reduce it before RMD age. And
right.
I'm nerding out a little bit, but there's all of these benefits that you will never come out ahead with philanthropic giving. But there are ways to give the same amount and have the same impact and have it be the least burdensome from an investment and tax standpoint.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So talk to a qualified financial advisor and accountant if you're interested.
Especially now, year end, because this is when your advisor might be like, oh boy, you need to do something. And
right.
I think one year we opened a fund at like 4:30 on the last day of the year because their accountant was like, oh wow, this is a problem.
So I remember years ago we had someone who wanted to do a retirement IRA contribution. Mm-hmm. And it was the final day. Yeah. And we had to get it in by X amount, and they drove from Northern Virginia. I don't know if it was a really good use of their time. Right. They could have invested it otherwhere, but like yeah, people are very last minute when it comes to things.
Yeah.
More times than not.
And I will say, if you're thinking about doing appreciated stock, you do want to do that closer to the beginning, mid-December, because it does get a little stressful.
Everybody's trying to do
at
things.
The, right.
You're at the mercy of the processing.
That's
if
right.
it's coming from Fidelity or
Right.
LPL or wherever.
Yeah, and you want that gift to hit by December 31st or it gets a little complicated. So.
All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit lighter. Lightning round.
Oh, no.
So I'm going to ask 5 questions. Jen, you do not know what these questions are yet.
Right.
So just quick, and then we move on to the next one.
Okay.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
I think I'm with you on that one. If you could, would you travel to the past or the future?
Ooh. Future.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Little known fact about me, I love corporate buzzwords.
Okay.
Because I've never been in corporate, so I just find it fascinating. What is your favorite corporate lingo, jargon, buzzword?
Let's circle back.
Circle back. That's a good one. I recently learned of chopping wood.
Oh, I don't know that one.
So I guess, we're chopping wood on a project like we're working on it.
Oh, okay.
You can't just say you're working on it, you're chopping wood.
Okay.
What's one thing about your job that always makes you smile?
I think that moment of seeing when we've done a really good job of connecting a family or a business with an organization that they've just fallen in love with. I mean, like that quick story I told about that family that found this organization because of us. That is just like, that's so cool.
You helped play some part in connecting everybody and bringing that to life.
That's right. And now, this program is just completely thriving, and it's like, oh, wow, that's a good feeling.
All right, and then the last one, if you could get everyone in Harford County to know one thing about the Community Foundation, what would it be?
That we are the perpetuity foundation in Harford County. We will be here 100 years, 250 years from now, and so whatever you want to happen today, we legally have to make sure that it's happening 200 years from now if your fund is a permanent one. So that to me is a really, really powerful it's a powerful vehicle for leaving a legacy in Harford County. I mean, if you're writing your annual checks to an organization you love now, wouldn't it be nice if you can still be writing those annual checks 250 years from now and it's still going in your name and they still have to list you in their annual report every year because you're still making those gifts even when you're not here?
So gifts you make today could benefit your great, great, great grandkids if they choose to live in Harford County.
Absolutely. That's right. Yeah.
That's
wow. That is a fun way to think about it.
Hopefully we'll remember that when we have the next committee meeting.
We won't, but well, it's on camera, so.
That's true. All right, so as we wrap things up, if something that we've talked about today catches someone's interest, what's the best way to get in touch with the Community Foundation and explore what they might be interested in doing?
Yeah, just give us a call. Go to our website. We have a list of all the different types of funds. I only hit on a couple of them. Like I said, we're pretty customizable based on any idea that any family or business has. Our main focus is Harford County, and if you love Harford County and you want to give back, we're probably the right place for you. So yeah, we encourage just reaching out to me personally even. And
what's the website name? It's
cfharfordcounty.org. So CF as in Community Foundation, harfordcounty.org. And then my email address is jfarrell, JF as in Frank, ARRELL at cfharfordcounty.org. And I welcome emails from anybody.
Awesome.
And calls, of course.
Of course. Well, Jen, thank you so much for coming in and talking about the Community Foundation that you're so passionate about, and with good reason. A lot of great work being done in the county. Reach out to Jen, explore creating your own fund or what it even looks like for when you are ready for the future. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you.
Thank you.